What if I told you that one of America's most beloved voices, the man who sang about mountains, skies, and peace, took his final breath in the very skies he loved the most? A gentle soul, a nature lover, a dreamer, gone in an instant. This is the haunting story of John Denver, a legend whose music lifted hearts, but whose end still echoes with unanswered questions. Before tragedy struck, John Denver wasn't just a singer. He was America's soundtrack. Songs like Take Me Home, Country Roads, Annie's Song, and Rocky Mountain High weren't just hits. They became national anthems of emotion. He was the smiling face on every TV, the golden voice on every radio, the man who made simplicity sound like poetry. But behind that smile was a quiet loneliness, a restless search for meaning, and a sky that kept calling him again and again. Henry John Deutschendorf Jr., yes, that was his real name, was born on December 31st, 1943, in Roswell, New Mexico. His father was a U.S. Air Force pilot, strict, disciplined, and distant. Young John, shy and sensitive, found comfort not in people, but in music. By the time he was a teenager, he was already writing songs, trying to make sense of the world through melodies. He later adopted the stage name John Denver, after Colorado's capital, a place he would eventually call home for his soul. In the late 1960s and 70s, when rock and roll screamed rebellion, John Denver sang about rivers, mountains, and love. It was soft, pure, and different. And people, tired of chaos, found peace in his voice. Albums like Poems, Prayers and Promises, and Back Home Again turned him into a household name. He wasn't just performing, he was healing. His concerts felt like campfires under the stars. Even presidents admired him. He sang at the White House and became a global ambassador for peace, nature, and humanity. But fame is never simple. Behind a gentle smile, John Denver was struggling. His marriage to Annie, the muse behind Annie's Song, began to crumble under fame's weight. He faced creative pressure, substance issues, and a growing feeling that the world loved his songs more than it understood him. He once said, "I've always been an outsider. Even when I'm loved, I'm alone." He longed for something beyond music, something he could control, something like flying. John had inherited his father's passion for flight. Airplanes gave him peace, the same peace his songs gave others. To him, the sky wasn't danger. It was freedom. He collected planes, earned multiple pilot licenses, and often said flying helped him feel closer to God. But friends were worried. He took risks, experimental aircraft, short flights, quick takeoffs. And then, one October afternoon in 1997, the sky that once embraced him turned into his final chapter. It was a clear Sunday in Monterey Bay, California. John Denver climbed into his small, home-built plane, a long, easy aircraft. He was alone, calm, happy. Witnesses saw the plane take off beautifully. But within minutes, something went wrong. The aircraft suddenly dipped, twisted, and crashed into the ocean. There was no explosion, no distress call, just silence. Rescue teams found wreckage floating gently on the waves, and soon after, John's body. He was only 53 years old. The investigation revealed a haunting detail. The plane's fuel selector switch, a small knob that controlled fuel flow, was placed behind the pilot's shoulder. To reach it, Denver had to twist his body mid-flight, possibly losing control. A tiny mechanical detail ended a global legend. Some say it was a design flaw, others call it pilot error. But deep down, many fans believe it was destiny. The sky he sang about, the mountains he praised, they had called him home. Even decades later, his voice still floats in the air. From American highways to mountain trails, his songs play like whispers of peace. He sold over 33 million records, earned Grammys, Emmys, and hearts worldwide. But more than awards, he left behind a feeling, a belief that the world could be kind, that love could be simple, that maybe, just maybe, heaven isn't above the clouds but right here in the songs we remember. Here's the irony. John Denver spent his life reminding us to stay grounded, to love nature, to cherish life. But he himself was always chasing the sky. It wasn't flying that killed him. It was who he was, a dreamer who refused to stay on the ground. And perhaps that's why he'll always live on. Because legends like John Denver don't die. They just fly a little higher than the rest of us. If this story touched you, take a moment today, look up at the sky, and hum, "Take Me Home, Country Roads." Because somewhere up there, John Denver is still singing, and the mountains are listening. Like, comment, and subscribe to keep the memory of true legends alive.